It is done. The holdout is over. Shemar Stewart has agreed to a 4-year contract with the Cincinnati Bengals, becoming the last first-round pick of this year's class to sign. Holdout over. And it's time for an emergency video and podcast right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien. Welcome in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. And let's dive into it because oh my, am I happy? I think the Bengals are happy. I'm sure you're happy because the last thing that anybody wanted to continue to hear about is how Shemar Stewart, the rookie, the 17th overall pick, isn't at training camp, isn't practicing, isn't out there with his teammates, isn't learning. And literally hours ago, I was in the Bengals locker room and I was talking to a veteran who I will not name. And the veteran's like, man, yeah, we need him. He needs to be here. All of these things. Well, it worked because Adam Schefter, the first to report that the Bengals have agreed to a 4-year, $18.97 million contract that's fully guaranteed. Every first-round picks contract is fully guaranteed. So we knew that was going to happen. He'll receive a $10.4 million signing bonus. We don't know when those payouts are. I do wonder if the Bengals are going to give Shemar a little bit more of that signing bonus to get the default language. That was the holdup here. The money wasn't the holdup. It was the default language. And we heard from Mike Brown earlier this week about that and about the situation. And I think ultimately the Bengals, once they were called out publicly, they were not blinking on this default language. And I would be surprised if they did. We'll find out at some point, maybe by the time you see this or hear this. I don't think they did. I think based on what I heard privately, publicly, all of the above, I think they were pretty locked in and dead set on this is the language. So maybe what the Bengals did and maybe what Zach Hiller, Shemar Stewart's agent. And again, I've said this multiple times. I just think they were too loud during this process. That's the issue. They were just too loud. And when you're loud like that and you're going up against a group or you're negotiating with people that are emotionless, they are robots. They are not going to get loud and be mad and do it. They're just not going to do it. They're just flatline, man. They're just calm. Okay. Throw your little temper tantrum. You can do that. You can come into camp. You cannot. You can do this. You can do that. Just too loud. And that's the issue here. The good news about all of this, and I said this earlier this week on End of the Jungle, I've really tried to hammer this home over the past week. The only person that's losing here was Shemar because he needs to be in training camp. He needs to learn life in the NFL. He needs to get acclimated and ready to go make a run at Defensive Player of the Year or Defensive Rookie of the Year, excuse me. Like that's where his mindset should be because he certainly thinks he should have been a top 10 pick in April. And his representatives think he should have been a top 10 pick, top 12 worst case. Well, when that's the case, it's pretty simple. One of those things, it's one of those things where the more you push, the more you stay in Texas, the more you work out at A&M, the more drama, the more just going to get in the way of what matters. And what matters is Shemar Stewart needs to have a successful rookie season. And the Bengals need him to have a successful rookie season. And so this is a big, big win for the Bengals. This is a big, big win for Shemar Stewart. And regardless of what happens, I don't think the Bengals are blinking on that default language. We'll find out. But they clearly plan on setting that precedent. And I would be stunned if they did. That being said, let's look at this high level. What should we expect to see from Shemar Stewart? I think they will ease him in. He did not participate in any of the on-field workouts during the offseason program because he was not comfortable with the medical waiver. And so his camp wasn't comfortable with the medical waiver. They were negotiating the contract, all of those things. Well, fine. So you missed all of that. He was in meetings. And then he hasn't been in camp yet. Missed 3 practices. All right. 6 days after rookies report, he's agreed to his deal. And that means I would expect him here Saturday. I would expect that deal to be signed Saturday. And then I would expect him to be on the field on Sunday when the Bengals resume training camp practice. That's a big, big thing to have him there. They're in full pads on Monday. That doesn't mean that Shemar is going to be full go or anything like that, but he will be out there. He'll start learning. He'll be able to get his football legs under him a bit. And that's huge because what it means is we'll have all week this week. And then you have next week, you have a short week, but you still have some of next week before preseason game number 1. And that's good because he needs those preseason reps. He needs those on-field reps. He needs that experience. He needs to face Amarius Mims. He needs to face Orlando Brown Jr. And the Bengals need him. They need him. And the only way you're going to get like Trey Hendrickson, the holdout is much different because with Trey Hendrickson, he can show up August 22nd and he knows what to expect by September 7th when the Bengals are in Cleveland week 1. Shemar Stewart doesn't know what to expect. The SEC is not Amarius Mims and Orlando Brown Jr. The SEC isn't kicking inside and having to deal with big interior defensive linemen, multiple double teams, all those things at the NFL level. It is different. And I think he can be a really good player much sooner than some realize. Like when I mentioned defensive rookie of the year, like I believe that. I believe that should be his mindset. That would be my mindset. And so how do you get there? Well, the first step is you better get your butt in camp. And so however it got done, I'm glad it got done. And hopefully, and this is where I want to end it because I think there's been a lot of toxicity over the past month plus, especially because his camp's really loud and they were talking and there was all those comments and I get it. But ultimately, if Shemar Stewart goes out there and he's productive, everyone's going to forget about how ugly it was for a few months. And it can get that way. It's weird. Sometimes the business is weird. Sometimes a 21-year-old kid is getting unique advice and advice that makes it really hard to deal with and difficult. And so just give him a chance to prove himself here and be able to separate the two things, the business side from the football side. Because there are a lot of people on social media, and I get it. Social media is a vacuum. They're like, bust already. And like, that's it. They're just done. You don't want him anyway. Like, no, that's not true. Like the Bengals know they need another edge rusher and a guy that can give them some real oomph on the defensive line. And he is that. He is not like he's different. This isn't like he's a different player than Miles Murphy. Everyone's going to bring up Miles Murphy. He's different than Joseph Osai. He complements what they have in that room very, very well. And that includes Trey Hendrickson. And so whether it's starting, whether it's not, I think Shemar Stewart's going to play meaningful snaps for the Bengals this year. So getting him in to camp, his first practice certainly should be July 27th, will be huge. It is huge. It is huge news. And that's why we are here for you on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow wherever you get your podcast. That's Apple, that's Spotify, that is Amazon. And until next time, if you're looking for more Bengals coverage, we got you covered, by the way, bengalstalk.com. I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Cincinnati Bengals Talk.